Nasum,
Yeah,
does Walking Dead suck?
sometimes. So my official answer is yes and no.
It does. It sucks bad.
Not that bad. Come on.
It's a terrible TV show, especially as a fan of the comic. It's a terrible TV show.
I didn't read as much comics as you did. I read some, but I thought season one and the beginning of the comics was identical. There's good things about it, but
Let me start with this before you go, because I know you're going to go into it. So let me start with this. I heard an analogy, and it's the best analogy that I've ever heard about the show.
Okay.
Walking Dead is a real people, non-animated version of Dragon Ball Z. Now, if you know Dragon Ball Z,
I do.
Dragon Ball Z, it would literally be Goku powering up, and then they go next time on Dragon Ball Z, and then you'd watch the next episode of Dragon Ball Z, and it'd be Goku going, and he'd lift a hand, and then it'd go next time on Dragon Ball Z.
All right, I see what you're saying here, and you can attribute this to what? Their pacing. They have pacing issues.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
all right, pacing issues aside, I have two thoughts on that. I'll be in two different camps. One, I'll be like, the pacing's fine, but when the show is good, and that's always near the beginning of a season or an ending of a season or the beginning of a break or at the end of a break, and they kind of did do that a lot, like along the way. Some stories are much better than others, so then there's going to be times when you run into like, well, we'll check on this person and this is what they're doing, and you'll get that for like a whole episode, and it won't be something that's like central to whatever's like what content's happening in the plot at that point, and it'll come across like boring or a filler episode, and you'll be like, ugh, and you will be like, let down. So the Dragon Ball Z thing, I get it. For me, it's more like Goku's coming back from being hurt, and then when he gets back, finally we can do something. But like, I remember what you're talking about, particularly in the Frieza saga. It just went on and on and on and on. Like, it in half an hour episodes, it took like 3 months to do something. It was
yeah.
It was painstakingly slow.
And I sat there in my childhood and watched every single episode, kind of like I did with Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The problem is that, as you know, after season 7 that we're in, episode 1, I decided, fuck this. And I enjoyed the first episode, disliked the second, and I was out.
Okay.
I'm done. Will I go back when it's all over? Maybe, but let me give you a little premise of my Walking Dead experience. My Walking Dead experience looks like this.
Looks like your phone.
And then
looks like you looking at your phone.
And then Michelle or someone will go, holy shit, and I'll go, oh, all right, let me watch it. Which is always 45 minutes of playing on my phone and then 15 minutes of watching the actual show, because I'm sick of watching people walk through a forest, walk through a town, grab this, grab that. It sucks, because I'll tell you what, season 7 I was excited for, because the Negan story in the comic books was my favorite by far. My favorite storyline.
There you go.
Yeah, my favorite storyline in the comic. I had when Rick was going after Negan, when he was sitting there and he's talking to his people, and he's like, as soon as he turns his back, we're gonna get him. I'm sitting there reading, and I'm going, no, don't do it. Don't do it. You can't go, Rick. You're going to die. You're going to get everyone killed. I literally had butterflies in my stomach, and it literally made me feel emotions. And when I heard that, when I saw that this is where they were going, I said, there's no way in hell I can miss this. And then by episode 2, I said, you know what? Fuck this. I can miss it. I already read it. I'm good. Now, like I said, will I watch it after I see everyone flip out about the last episode? Probably, because that's how they always get you. It's kind of like a drug. You got to get your fix because you hear everyone talking about it all of a sudden again. But like I said, I don't watch it as of right now. So I think it does suck. I think they need to go. I don't even know what direction to go in, because the problem is with a comic book, you can do things like this. You could have these, you could have an issue of a conversation. I'm a comic book nerd, so one of my favorite is by Brian Michael Bendis, Ultimate Spider-Man. The entire issue was before Peter Parker and Mary Jane were actually going out, or maybe they just started going out, I'm not sure. But they sat in their bedroom and they talked. And the issue is one of the best issues I've ever read of Spider-Man in my entire life. But that's an issue.
Yeah.
And that's not an hour. A comic book takes 10 minutes to read. Even if the one thing happened, and that's what they're trying to translate. They're trying to translate a 10, 15, maybe 20, depending on how long you stare at pictures in comic books, or admire the artwork. They're trying to translate that into an hour-long show with commercials and all the rest. So you're sitting there for an hour watching this, where you could read it for 10 minutes and get on to the next one.
Okay. I hear what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying. The pacing. There are a lot of times, and you're totally right, where you could be looking at your phone and someone will be in the room, they'll be like, oh God, look, and you'll get like 15 minutes of what you would deem worthwhile, programming. They have a slow setup, that's for sure. And then they burn through their plot really, really quick. Sometimes it seems like the show can't win when you're watching it because you're excited that it came back, but there's going to be times where you're watching like things get needlessly dragged out, or it seems needless, right? They'll be spending episode after episode going over just like the same stuff, doing things done before, repeating the same things, never actually getting anywhere or doing anything. That plagues the series, yes. But when it is good, it is really good. So why don't you and I, since we already brought up the pacing issue, and I'll still be able to say positive things about the show because I am still watching. Why don't we bring up season 2? Because that's one of the bigger gripes for all fans across the board, including myself.
Yeah, if I can remember it, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to bring up season 1 at all because it was only like 6 episodes. So I'm okay with season 1. It was what it was. We finally got into the show and it was quick. And what I've seen so far reading the comics, it's identical to the comic book. So season 2 with The Walking Dead, there's like 2 camps. Some might say that like they did a really good job at like developing relationships or creating like some interesting group dynamic, or maybe something that was unexpected, introducing other characters. I just felt like season 2 was 13 episodes of people hanging out on the farm. They were stuck on a farm. They lost a showrunner. I don't know whether they spent money too much on something and had nothing else to do with the plot at that point and had to just drag it out. But we were just sitting on the farm talking. And sometimes I feel like the characters weren't adding cool things to their characterization or their dynamics. I thought it was just kind of like sitting around, and I saw a lot of people drop off. Like my father stopped watching. He was calling it The Talking Dead then, rather than the show that comes on after that, which is The Talking Dead with Chris Hardwick on it.
Or now it's literally The Walking. Well, not dead, but The Walking People.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll get to
They
that.
just
What you're gonna say, I'll definitely get to. But let's finish season 2. Season 2. It didn't have much of a story. Things that were happening that were in events in between were just like Walker fell in the well. Let's try to get him out. Like, I'm like, really? I guess this is exciting. At least they're not like people in the house talking, bickering, or like where's Carl? Like, stuff like that. Like, his mother lost him way too much, by the way. She really didn't know where he was ever. And there was just like one farm, one house, and only so much like land. Let's see. They seemed like they were going to be getting dangerously close to getting to other territories or meeting other groups, other factions, and they never really quite did. They tried to make the season finale really exciting with big explosions and a lot of gunfire, or Herschel's shotgun that never, ever, ever ran out of ammo, and it's still going off in the field today because, they moved on and that gun just never stopped. Anyway, season 2 was a big letdown for me. That being said, I always threw in that little jab of like season 1, Daryl's character was this. He was kind of like more like his brother Merle. No one really liked him. Season 2, he's on the bike. He's scouting ahead. He's number 2. He's taking over. He's getting food. He's doing this. He's doing that. Like, and I guess that would make him more likable for a lot of the fans because he's like one of the biggest adored characters of the series. But in between seasons 1 and 2, they never even really tried to explain to you why did he go from being sort of a hillbilly like prick into this guy that's like, oh, he's awesome. He's definitely great for the group. And if someone can't lead, he'll be there to take over and get stuff done. Now we can go into what you were talking about. The talking people, the Talking Dead, the walking people, there's no zombies. I mean, there's zombies, but they're in the background. They're like furniture. Like they're not a threat anymore.
let me stop you because
Go ahead.
that was always Robert Kirkman, the original creator of the comic book. That was always his plan. That was always his plan to show the struggles between people, with the zombies just being a secondary product of the comic book.
Mhm.
That's why you have all your crazy characters like the governor or like Negan, because that's what he originally wanted. So the lack of zombies, I don't mind. And here's the problem. Before you go on, here's because you touched on this already.
All right.
The problem that I have is what I already said. Scott Gimple, that's who's doing it now, correct?
Mhm.
Scott Gimple's not doing a bad job with it. He
Okay.
really isn't. But the problem is, does this translate well on the screen? It doesn't matter. Even if they go by the book, issue by issue, if they do 2 or 3 issues an episode, it can't, will it, will that make it better? Will that make it watchable? I mean, if they take, instead of doing a crazy finale, maybe they could do two when they do the half season. They get from, you know, I think they're trying to stretch this Negan thing out, and I think that they could take, you know, half of the story to where they got to by the break and then finish it. This doesn't have to be a 15 season show. And I mean, they're going to outpace the book eventually, but they could take 3 books and take the main points from them and put it into an episode or make it shorter or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to. I'm not a, I don't make TV shows, so I don't know how to translate that over a comic book over. And a lot of comic book movies, I mean, except for Marvel just coming in and slaying everybody. It was always hard. It was always hard to take a comic book and put it on the screen. And how do you do that with an hour a week when studios have been fighting to do it for uh, a 2.5, 3 hour movie?
I think overall that you are going to have a hard time with a television series that's based off of a comic because it's hard to make it successful. I mean, Marvel's doing their best on multiple different types of platforms, different channels, and some of their stuff is really good. I have to give them credit for the stuff I was able to sit down and watch. But for The Walking Dead, how much of it will they have to relate to the comics? How much can they cram in there? Yeah, that's going to be the tough part. And when we talked about pacing, you're losing opportunities to be able to get other good stories lines in because your pacing is like paying attention to something else rather than maybe a really good storyline. But that being said, how about we talk about Terminus only being 1 episode? The whole Terminus.
Yeah. The lead up was what, like a season and a half? What was
The
going
lead up
on?
was pretty crazy. We're going somewhere. We have to get the Terminus, this and that. I heard whispers of what they're going to be like because the people who watched or read the comics, much like yourself. And then we found out Terminus was 1 episode. Now, a lot of people think that Terminus being 1 episode was a squandered storyline, that you could have drawn that out for that season and made it really interesting and saved other good stuff for seasons after. I thought Terminus, and this is just me, I might be alone on this one. I thought Terminus being 1 episode and maybe being wrapped up in one other episode after that, when maybe like Gareth reappeared and was killed, was great. The 1 episode of Terminus as the season came back was so jam-packed with content. I'm like, all right, we actually got all this story in. I thought they could have drawn this out to the point where I would have been like, all right, get on with it. But they did it in such a the compact fashion that I really ended up enjoying it instead. So I know you might think differently.
Is this the reason though? Is that Terminus is made up specifically for the show? Terminus was never a part of the book.
Oh,
So
okay.
is that why?
Weren't there cannibals in the book though?
There were. I don't think it was called that. It was just like a little town.
Okay.
I don't even know if you could call it a town.
So they're doing like they're mixing that.
Yeah, there wasn't very many people there, but
they're meshing it.
Is this what happens when they don't have a story already laid out for them? That they have creativity for one episode? Because they don't know where to take it, because they don't know how they're going to get from point A to point B with this. So they just drag it out, and then they don't know where to go because they know the next place they have to go is Negan, or the next place they have to go is here, or. So was it just filler?
For me, Terminus wasn't. For me, Terminus, the story was Wham Bam Thank You Man. There's an awesome one-time episode where you get all this content all in a row. Could we ever have every episode be like this? No. Would we love it if they did it that way? Oh yeah. But it would be hard to write that way, I suppose. Did this like no, I think giving us Terminus in just a little bit in that quick fashion after leading up to it paved the way for Negan to be able to come sooner than later. So I guess I would like to say, all right, good job on that. I thought that worked out pretty well. What do you think about there being too much cannon fodder as far as like characters go in The Walking Dead? Like I read somewhere that by season 5, like 300 people had died already.
Well, the thing is that Kirkman always wanted to be controversial, and he always wanted to be that you never knew it was going to happen. No one's safe, which is cool. You know, it's cool when things happen in the book, you're really taking a hit. Holy shit, you know, and taking it back. And like I said, when I was because and here's where I'm going to go is because when Negan comes in, and I'm talking about I got the butterflies in my stomach when I'm reading the whole thing, that it was my favorite storyline of the book yet, is because you don't know what's going to happen. You've read 100. I'm not sure what issue he came in, but you've read, 80 issues so far, or whatever it was when Negan got introduced, and you've seen shit go down. Like book, story, series altering stuff. You've seen it go down. So you are really scared because you think Rick can die, or this could happen, or this character can die. So I like the fact that they stick to that. But like I said, to me, the whole thing is pacing. I think that's good. I think they have the Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Negan is probably the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I never read the comics with Negan in it, but I knew when Jeffrey Dean Morgan was coming towards the role, I'm like, it's probably just going to be a really good ordeal or combination, any which way.
Right, and I think he was fantastic, and I watched one episode. But the thing is that iconic moment when he's outside the RV and he's got everyone on their knees, everyone knows it, everyone saw it already. He did it line for line, and when I watched that, I was just my jaw dropped. I was like, this is gonna be it, Yeah. But here, you tell me, because these are just thoughts, this is just opinions, and I have no idea. But is it just a money machine now? Is it just that instead of laying these books on a table and saying, hey, what can we do to have this go from point A to point B in each storyline? What do we need? How can we make it a show that's not boring, that doesn't bore people? And what would happen, that I think, especially with the amount of episodes that it goes, is that it would be a 3, 4, 5 season show. And when they saw what happened, maybe they had, I mean, I don't know what ideas they had in the beginning, but is it just a cash grab now? Is it just a cash grab to drag it out? I mean, they still have, I just sent you that article, they still have 10 million viewers. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's good.
They used to have more. 10's great. So AMC is not going to stop on the whim of a notion because of numbers like that. To finish off what we were saying about cannon fodder, I wanted to just quickly say a lot of characters will die that we never actually get to learn anything about. And when they're gone, you're just like, because like you never had time to be able to form any attachments. That I've seen more than often. What you just said before about, well, could Rick die? As far as watching this show, Rick's not ever going anywhere. Anyone around Rick, like Carl, doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Once in a while, somebody will lose something on their body, like an eye or a hand, and you'll feel vulnerable for a second, but then you kind of know who's not going anywhere. Dale won't go anywhere because of, Daryl won't go anywhere because of his popularity. Dale, who got killed in the beginning, got killed really, really early, and most people don't remember him in his RV and the hat he used to wear. I guess people did not want to see Herschel go. Obviously, of recent, a lot of people probably didn't like, and I'm guessing Beth dying or Glenn dying or Abraham. They were bigger characters that you can get used to. All these characters I just talked about were characters you could kind of take your time to get to know and see the different traits they have and not want them to be able to and have anything happen to them. But there's such a large amount of other characters that are flying around, whether they're in different factions or with our group or from a different time period or a different season, that it just doesn't seem like all of them would be a big deal if you lost certain ones. You were touching upon underwhelming villains and how the characters are. There's a handful of characters that are absolutely safe. Probably Michonne's probably in there too. Could you make a money machine with keeping these people around so people want to keep watching? Yeah. Did they kind of test the waters with Glenn and then take them away? Yeah. People probably didn't like that at all. I know myself, I was kind of shocked. I actually called it that it was going to be after there was some kind of a shakeup. Someone asked me, who do you think is going to go? I'm like, well, it's going to be Glenn or Abraham, because they foreshadowed Abraham by saying goodbye so much. And then they foreshadowed Glenn with the whole under the dumpster hiding thing. And I didn't know they would both go. So it's like, I guessed that both of them, I was like elated. Underwhelming villains. I'll start right now and say that I think the governor's story was awesome. I did not mind that he came back. I kind of liked that he did. And we got to see what else he would do that showed more facets of the governor. And so the governor's return never bothered me. And obviously, everyone's been waiting for Negan, and he's finally here. So I don't think the best villains are underwhelming at all. I guess you could say some of them in there that were around earlier were not as good. But yeah,
they would say they were underwhelming.
I think people would think that like Shane would be underwhelming because he was still on their side, but starting to lose it and go crazy. And before you know it, he was out of there. But Shane also was like trying to be a leader for like the wrong reasons and the right reasons, and Rick was still trying to find his total voice.
But that's where like I come, like I've been talking about, is that the death of Shane was 6 issues,
and he lasted way longer, didn't he?
He lasted way longer with all this shit thrown in there to just keep it afloat. You know what I mean? It's not like they're trying to. Like we said about pacing, I'm trying to think of how to say it. Like they are just throwing stuff in to get to their episode count. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're just throwing shit at the wall to get to the episode count, and they're saying we can't do it because I feel that they just are looking at the cash grab point of it, and they are just let's get let's do this for 20 some episodes. I think that if they sat down, then if it was organic, I mean, Walking Dead might have to go away for 2 years because, as you know, comic books come out once a month. That's 12 stories. But the thing is that let's put it that way, is that you either wait for 2 or 3 years to have 36 issues to compile a season on, or you got to make shit up, and you got to put in all this stuff that obviously people don't like because it's boring.
Do you think I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all right.
Did you think killing Beth or Glenn or Abraham was a mistake? That you could have developed those characters more?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm. No, I think you need that shock value. That's the same thing. That's directly from the book. I think you need that to just it's the same thing. It's the book.
It's what you kind of said. It makes it feel like anything can happen and no one's safe. So if you take out big characters or bigger pawns or bigger players or bigger whatever you want to call them, getting rid of someone like Beth out of nowhere, which was a little bit of a shock, was kind of cool for me. A lot of people didn't like it, or maybe some didn't. I also thought that getting rid of Glenn and Abraham did make what you said it really more real. Anything can happen to anyone at any time. Don't get comfortable. But at the same time, I also maintain that there's X amount of characters that still will never go anywhere unless they get like maimed a little bit.
Right. Well, why? See, maybe it's just not for me because, as you know, I'm not the biggest TV consumer. I'm still on season 3 of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I'm not the big. I like movies. Maybe it's just that I like that, sure. But the thing is that when I watched Breaking Bad, I was up till 4 or 5 in the morning on the weekends.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop. I had to get to the end.
Yeah.
And mind you, that was without commercials, without waiting week to week. and just binge watching. So that's another thing. If I binge watch Walking Dead, would I like it more? Without sitting there for an hour with commercials and the rest of it, would I like it more if I just binge watched it? Or I don't know. But as of right now, when I sat there, I just know that it's going to be this this walking and talking, or this thing might happen here, and then I got to watch the last 5 minutes to see why I'm going to continue watching this series.
And you're
And
saying that during a time where you should have been most excited because you were eagerly awaiting for Negan to finally arrive, and now that he's here, you're just like,
yeah, I mean, you got, like I said, you got to understand is that, oh, okay, let me put this, like, an issue is Negan coming to uh what is it called, Alexandria, right?
Alexandra, yeah.
Yeah. Negan finally making, knocking on the thing. And the issue's cool, but once again, it's because it's 10 minutes, 15-minute read,
Yeah.
and that's exactly, and this is in my brain because this is when Rick turns around to his people, and like Michonne and Amy's still there.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
um, and they say, we got to kill him. And I say, oh shit, this might really happen. Negan's going to turn around. This is a bad dude. Rick, don't do it. I'm shouting at the guy, no, don't do it, don't go. And I'm really, that sense of urgency.
Feet in college. Sorry.
But it's not like that because, like, how long? Like, what was that one episode when he was there, I'm guessing?
Who, Negan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been one episode. He's been in more, but you'd still have to wait in between episodes where you're checking on Ezekiel's camp and this other place. And like,
Right.
so they're making you wait. The thing you were talking about is still happening. Is it more interesting right now because it seems like you have to get other factions to take out a large faction? That's pretty cool. Yeah, but it's still exciting to be watching this with a really strong villain. I think it was George R.R. Martin, who wrote Game of Thrones, said that killing off a really good villain is really hard to do because they're able to do so much for your story, for your plot. And like I said before, I love the governor, played by David Morrissey. It was absolutely brilliant when I think about it and look back on it. The governor's return for me was awesome because I wanted more governor, even though it was supposed to be over. What did you think about the governor's return? Were you okay with that, or were you one of the people that didn't like it?
When he
came back?
When like the whole meeting up with that family and everything.
Yeah, he would be walking around recklessly. He wasn't hanging out with his two cronies anymore. He would almost walk into a zombie, but at the last second move, he found a family. He kind of got back to, you got to see a different side of his character where he was like coming back to a place that he could be. And then he ran in with more people, came up with a secondary uprising and tried to take out the people he wanted vengeance from for Woodbury, I think it was.
That's what the thing is that maybe I'm just a hater,
You okay?
Maybe I'm just a hater of the show because, in the book you're reading it to see they're all talking and they're saying,
yeah,
he's coming, let's do this, let's do that, while they have problems on the inside and all that, and then he shows up with a tank. On the show, you get to see something you really didn't see in the book. You get to see what was going on.
Yeah.
How did he recover? How did he get back? How did he get to this point, which you really don't see when you read it. But it's boring to me.
Gotcha.
It's boring to me. It's action packed. The book is good. I mean, it gets a little drawn out too, but like I said, you got to, you get to a slow point in the book, you're done. You're on to the next one in 30 minutes. You read 3 issues and you're ready to go,
Yeah.
And I just think it's tough. I mean, it couldn't have been a movie, but like I said, I think that, I mean, I'm not saying they're sitting here and saying they're greedy, but I'm saying that they should have sat down and said, and literally thought about it. How are we going to get from issue 1 to issue 100? And how many seasons are we literally going to have to do that, while having the cliffhanger at the end, or that made sure something happens here? Like, I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, like I said, I'm the furthest thing from making TV show. But just off the top of my head, I would lay it out. I would have writers read this, make sure. I mean, I know probably most of them have read it, but make sure. Okay, episode 1, we take issue 1, 2, and 3. Here's the plot point, and it revolves around this. Okay, now we moved over to here. So episode 1 was fantastic with Rick escaping the hospital, getting to where he had to be. That was good. So now, what's the next major plot point? Well, Shane's death.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many episodes can we
do this over and over? This dance. So this is the Walking Dead formula. You've touched upon it completely. Rick and the crew, we survived, and here we are. Oh, now we're on a farm. And what's going to happen? Well, oh no, we're in a prison, and we have to start to get settled. And we're gonna have a way of life, and we're gonna establish it. Then there's gonna be some approaching threat from the outside. They'll talk about it for a couple episodes because they talk, and then eventually they're gonna have to deal with that. This results in the season ender beginning, mid-season ender beginning, gunfire, blood, violence, explosions. An important character will get killed, or maybe more than one will, and it'll be completely tragic. They'll have to walk on aimlessly with no place for so many episodes, and then they're going to stumble on a way to be able to get to somewhere where they have to be next. They'll rinse repeat with the farm and the prison, and then I guess it would be like Woodbury, then Alexandria, and you'll have like you'll have a new location, but you'll be doing ultimately the same thing, and it's like the circle will like complete itself. It's a cycle.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
How awesome would The Walking Dead be if it was 30 minutes long?
As long as you weren't doing 30 minutes of a filler episode and the next episode I wait for a week for it is the rest of that episode, then it depends on what you're going to do with the story.
If you condensed an episode to 30 minutes, so you condense all this crap that we have to watch into 30 minutes and do that. Or how many episodes is a season now?
I don't know, honestly. They're a lot more than they started off with 6. Absolutely, yes.
Right, and that's another thing. I just watched. I keep telling you about Channel Zero. It was 6. I think the next one's going to be 6 as well. It's good. Like you sit in a room and you say, "This is what we have, and this is how we're going to do it." Could you imagine 6 episodes? I mean, that's amazing because you could put the filler in. It's fine. Or
skip it all is kind of what you're saying. It's kind of like with Stranger Things. You watch Stranger Things and it's all awesome because it's pretty much all content the whole time. That might be the wave of the future for the way programming will go. People watch Sherlock. It's 3 episodes a season. It's an hour and a half a piece or a little less, but the story's amazing because you don't have any time to put in filler. It's just all content and all. Some people consider some parts filler, yes, but for the most part, it's all content, but it's shortened. So what you're saying with the half an hour, yes, I agree. If you wrote like that and you did this, then you'd always have like what you can consider like the best show you'd be able to watch, but you'd have to wait a long time just for a couple of episodes. And there's I don't know, there's 2 parts of me that wants to watch a bunch of episodes, even if I get a ton of filler. But there's another part of me that loves watching what I just described, where it's really short, but really, really good. But it's still really quick and you have to wait. So I guess I'm torn.
Right. I want to end this part here. Like this, what we're talking about here is like I said, 6 episodes. Let's talk. Okay, so 6 episodes. So we have, let's just take it. We have the governor, them going to see the governor, them getting trapped there, them leaving, and Michonne's craziness that she does, them preparing because they're coming, and now the governor shows up. 6 hours full of content.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, it's in there anyway with the hour episodes. It's just here and there. They sprinkle it all over rather than have it all in a row, right?
Yeah, but you have to stretch this. So I don't know. I just, like I said, am I going to watch it when it's finished? I don't know. I'll see what the big finale is, and I'm sure it's going to be huge because they always pull the greatest TV you could ever watch on that last episode of the season.
Yeah, right. That's what we talked about. Sometimes that's not like it outweighs. Like you'll be like, this season is this season is that, and then the last episode having I'll help people like it was the greatest show I've ever watched. I'm like, you can't say that just because you liked one episode at the end. It's like they forget everything that happened.
Let me say that too. Episode 1 of season 7 is one of the best TV episodes I've ever watched in my life. That had me freaking out, on the edge of my seat, butterflies in my stomach. That will go down as one of my favorite episodes of television I have ever watched in my life, with all the people around. And then when he bashed someone's head in, and then all of a sudden goes to the second one, which didn't happen in the book, because you're like, sigh of relief. You sit back, everyone's safe.
It's not over.
Or our character that we know that died in the book is safe. And then he wasn't. And then, cut your kid's hand off. And that tension, that's the thing that I'm also saying, is that not saying that these actors are bad at all, because Andrew Lincoln is awesome. I love him as Rick. There's no one else can play him.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts. You have anything else to say?
The last part would be characterization. So if you would be here's the best example of doing a great job when the characters developed really, really well, or by accident or whatever design would happen, that you get to see a lot of growth over a few seasons or a bunch of seasons. Carol went from being this beaten down type of like a withered flower, and she goes into one of the most badass characters in the show, but then she's taken another turn to go back towards wanting to be more of a pacifist. And she has a really cool kind of story arc going on there. We all know that Daryl, by sheer force of fan popularity, has grown into a character that people love to be able to watch, although he just has like this rough exterior, and more of a rough exterior than he's ever going to let on. People love Glenn and Mary. They were bold enough to take care of Glenn, and like I said earlier about the characters that I don't think will go anywhere, and then other characters that were more like easy for them to get rid of. Was there any character that you were the most sad to see go, or what was the character that you? I can't ask you what character you didn't remember, because you wouldn't remember anyway.
I have the perfect answer for this, and I wanted to say it because I messed up.
All right.
It wasn't Amy; it was her sister Andrea.
Okay, Andrea. Yeah, there you go.
Andrea. So I could tell you, because I have the perfect thing. Andrea is a badass in the book. Andrea is dating Rick now because of all the stuff that's going on. She's a sharpshooter, and she's a badass, and she's a really, really good character, and one that I don't know at where the comics are now, if she's still around. I haven't read since the Whisper story, but if she goes, that's going to be a big thing. Now, Andrea in the show sucks.
That was totally different. A lot of more than one of my friends beside yourself had said the same thing. Like, what did they just do with this character over here? This is ridiculous. I can't believe
character, like a really good character. At least take that from the book. Like, she was really good. But here's the thing: in a book, you don't have all the politics of Hollywood. So when Darabont left, these were all Darabont people, and then you see Dale die, you see Andrea die, and there was a couple other in there that were all Frank Darabont's people. If you ever watched The Mist, they're all in the Mist.
They were all in there.
They're all in The Mist.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. They're Frank Darabont cronies.
Last question from me to you. I obviously will keep watching the show. I like watching the show. I don't have as many problems as you have with it, but you can see through this conversation, I do have a whole bunch to be able to kind of pick at. What did you think about Rick we knew Rick in the beginning when he was trying to figure out what was going on. We knew Rick when he was protecting his family. We knew Rick when he was batshit crazy. Rick, he was losing his mind. He was seeing people, hearing things. One thing, he was on watch when he was having like auditory and visual hallucinations. Would you put somebody on watch that can see other things that might not be there?
Would I? No.
But they did with Rick. It doesn't matter. Okay, moving on. Oh yeah, he's the leader. Rick came a far way, I guess you can say, from seasons 1 to 7. What did you think about Farmer Rick when he kind of just, I'm going to do some farming in the yard over here of the prison, and that'll help me reconnect to reality?
I mean, he's got to do what he's got to do. He's going through some hard stuff. I never was in a zombie apocalypse. Were you?
No, but if I ever am and you're with me and I'm starting to really lose it, seeing things and going crazy, maybe not being nice to the people around me,
Farm.
can you remind me to farm?
Farm. You got to farm. That's it.
Okay.
I'll definitely do that for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you could be around to be able to remind me of that, because I'll be so crazy I won't know.
I think we could revisit this if I decide to watch it. If I
That
decide
sounds good. That sounds good.
to continue it. So,
Okay.
does Walking Dead suck for me? Yes. Should it? No. Do I want it to succeed? Yes. That's how I'm ending it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Does Walking Dead suck for you?
Sometimes, yes, but overall, not enough to make me want to stop. So no, it doesn't suck.
Okay. Cool. If you guys like this, make sure to like or subscribe below. Leave us a comment if you think Walking Dead does suck. And as always, this is brought to you by SeptimoreLive.com. So check us out there as well. Take care.
Take care.